Sweet baby Jesus, Y2KM. If you're not familiar with this, there's a channel called Yankee Marshall, and if these numbers are correct, he lost about 7,000 subscribers in the past month. Yeah, it doesn't sound a lot like compared to other like makeup drama where they'll lose millions, but for gun channels, we're typically smaller, so that's freaking huge. So how does this all break down? Put together a storyboard for you, so if you're unfamiliar with this and you don't want to watch hours of video, you can get the rough idea. So this all started with a Fox News story about a group called Chaz in Seattle, Washington. The narrative Fox News was pushing was that there was armed communists that forcefully took over an area. Now, there is a shred of truth to this. There were a Black Lives Matter group in Seattle, Washington that got absorbed by Chaz. They lost the initiative. Everywhere there was a Black Lives Matter tag, there was a communist tag right next to it, and or covering up the Black Lives Matter tag. So yes, there was some truth behind this. But what they were pushing is that the whole thing was fenced off, possibly barbed wired, armed guards, people that were there because they didn't have a choice. They were forced to be there. There was checkpoints. There was people not allowed in and out. They were forming their own country. Basically, American soil was forcefully seized. So it was three heavy hitters that covered this. It was Mr. Guns and Gear, which based off of Fox News. There was Guns and Gadgets, which also based this story off of Fox News. And then there was Yankee Marshall. And this is where things get weird. See, with these two stories combined, that's 300,000 views. Even for me, I had a customer come in asking me if I had seen these two videos, and I was like, yes. And the way these two videos put it down, they were beating the war drum. It was time to go kill some commies. And that made sense to a lot of people, including myself, until I did my own research. I was going to do a video like the next day on this, basically basing off of Fox News, but I went to Snapchat, I got eyes on, and what I was seeing was not at all what these three stories were saying that was going on. So I was like, alright, who's in Washington? Who should I follow? Well, I found out Yankee Marshall was in Washington, so I started really paying attention to his channel. I found out Sean Havoc's channel. He was from Washington. I really started paying attention to his channel. Sean Havoc's channel, there was no usable information. His videos aren't what you'd call consistent. He just does it on random stuff. Well, so does Yankee Marshall, but then Yankee Marshall shows up there, starts doing a live stream, and it's lining up to the information I was getting on Snapchat, and I'm like, okay. Yes, there is some sort of protest going on, but it's not heavy artillery, chain link fences, barbed wire, forced communism, basically. So then Yankee Marshall started attacking Guns and Gadgets and Mr. Guns and Gear. Well, at that point, Guns and Gadgets did a different video. And I checked, their original videos are still up, which I don't really expect them to take them down. But he did another video and was like, hey, you know, my source was bad. This is what's really going on. He got pretty upset in the video, basically saying that it doesn't even matter. You can go check the videos. I'll try to list the link to as many as possible in the comments section if you want to check them out for yourself. But he opted out. He told his audience, I was wrong about this. I still don't agree with it. You know, there is violence going on, but no, it's not the armed commie socialist takeover that I originally thought it was. My source was bad. Mistakes happen. I have no problems making a correction video. And that was very honorable. Because you've got to remember, out of these channels, there is a percentage of people that only watch these channels. So out of these 300,000, they're probably going to tell at least one person. So now 600,000 people think that it's time for war. Alright, so then he opted out of it. So then it was Yankee Marshall and Guns and Gear. Crickets from Guns and Gear. Nothing. Nothing at all. No follow-up video being like, okay, you know, I was wrong about Chaz. It was a bad source, you know, I wasn't trying to mislead you. It was just a bad source on my part. Shit happens. It happens to the best of us. There's no getting around it. It happens. So anyways, Yankee Marshall continued to attack Mr. Guns and Gear. Several videos, like a whole playlist of videos, just poke, 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 poke. Eventually, on one of his videos, and I seen that video, he says, I'll try to get a direct quote. I'll see if I can just record it and roll it in. But the gist of it is that I had heard a rumor, and he was very clear about this, it's not a confirmed source, that maybe Mr. Guns and Gear was not in the military, or maybe his military stories were not as accurate as he portrays them out to be. Stolen valor. That was Yankee Marshall's claim against Mr. Guns and Gear. Now, yes, stolen valor is a big deal. There's an exception for YouTube, though. If you use any piece of information as a source, whether that's a military record, the Webster Dictionary, whatever, it doesn't matter. Expect to get fact-checked. For example, I've been fact-checked several times on this store. People would jump in the comments like, how do you know anything about the industry? You're at some Goodwill filming a video. So then I did 2 videos explaining, you know, this is what's actually going on. Expect to be challenged. That's just the way it is. If you're going to use something as a proof, especially something verifiable, like a military record, expect to get fact-checked. And that's what Mr. Guns and Gear did. As he put down his DD-214, he did a brief run over of his military record. Hey, you know, I was actually in the service. This is my proof. So I can't really fault Yankee Marshall for accusing him of stolen valor because everything gets challenged. If you're using something on the internet, expect it to get challenged. That's just the way it is. And I can't fault him for, you know, saying the rumor. For a while there, I had heard a rumor that, who the hell was it? The Military Arms channel had a sponsor from Starbucks and was refusing to divulge it. And it seemed credible. There was several live stream videos where he had a Starbucks coffee in there. There was some Instagram videos where he specifically was in a Starbucks drive-thru, name dropped the company, blah, 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 blah. And I thought about bringing it up in a video, but I'm like, you know what? Even if, no, I'm not saying you should go on with this rumor. I'm just saying why a rumor I had heard that I almost did a video on, but I didn't. But even if it was true, you know, what does it change? Say I call him out on this. I couldn't prove that it is a sponsor. He would not be able to prove that it's not a sponsor. It would be my word against his. It's not something that's verifiable, so I just let it go, because who really cares? I like it when companies bring money into the whole community. So it went on from stolen valor. Now, it wouldn't have been that big of a deal. He would have just showed his DD-214. It would have been proved. Blah, blah, blah. It probably would have been case closed. Well, Yankee Marshall does an apology video on the stolen valor, right? Now, the proper way to do this apology video would have just been like, hey, you know, I was wrong about the stolen valor. I just want to let my audience know that that rumor proved to be false. End of story. I apologize for even bringing it up. There wasn't really a need for an apology, but, you know, whatever. You know, just make an apology. I wouldn't. I'd just be like, oh, hey, you know, that rumor on stolen valor, it got fact-checked. It is false. End of the video. And then you could have done your attacks going back to the whole Chaz thing, that it was kind of bullshit that he never made a follow-up video. But instead of just doing an apology, what he decided to do was start off as an apology, and then he went back into the attack, making his original apology valid, or void. It no longer mattered, because that wasn't the point of the video. The point of an apology video should be the apology itself. Instead, it became an attack video out of his apology video. So he should have just did the apology video, chop, end a video, start a new video, go back onto your other attacks. But he didn't. So now we got a couple more players in the game here. After that apology video, then Johnny B jumped in. Mr. Givesendgo, crickets. Nothing. And then Yankee Marshall. So then Johnny B did a more or less an attack against Yankee Marshall. He basically put out the idea that, hey, we should stop following this guy because he's not helping the gun community in any way, shape, and form. Yes, he does do those donation guns, which is cool. You know, we all like free shit. But he's just been toxic. He's not helping anything. He's causing infighting. And stolen valor is such a big deal. It's next to child molestation. Accusing somebody of child molestation, which Mr. Givesendgo originally said. But like I said earlier, he should not have got upset about the stolen valor claim because unless I missed the video, he had never proved his military service before. And he's used it in videos as a proof of concept. Anyway, so then Johnny B jumps in the mix. He makes his attack video. And, you know, it was relatively reasonable-ish. I would have taken it in a different direction, but, you know, that's just me. So then Yankee Marshall makes an attack video against Johnny B. Instead of just touching on the shit that he misquoted or misrepresented him for, because another one of the arguments for Johnny B is that he was a Chop or Chaz or whatever the hell they called themselves supporter. And I watched his videos. It wasn't that he was supporting them, he was supporting their right to have their voices heard. Regardless how you feel about an organization, it needs to be a level playing ground. If I want my voice heard, they gotta have their voice heard. Whether or not they make themselves look like idiots, they still have the right to be heard. Which I agree with on that. So then Yankee Marshall does an attack video against Johnny B. And like I said, he totally lost his initiative. So what he does for an attack video, he goes after the fact that Johnny B makes money and uses links. And I cannot side with him on that. I side with Johnny B with making money and using links because we're supposed to share value. I'm supposed to extract value out of you guys, and you guys are supposed to extract value out of me. It's a shared value system on YouTube. So what do I mean by that? When you watch my videos, click my links, use my Amazon affiliate, do my Patreon, what you're doing is helping my channel grow. You're helping me buy more and more equipment that I can put in front of the camera, I can test, I can get your voices out there. Like if there's just a comment like, hey, you gotta cover this, hey, you gotta cover this, hey, you gotta cover this, I can cover it, whether that's a news story or a Pacific firearm. In order to make that shit happen, I gotta have funds. None of that shit happens for free. Everything costs money. Now you guys extract value out of me by watching my videos and being like, okay, this firearm was a pile of crap. We're not gonna buy that one. It's a waste of money, so by you watching my videos and supporting me, I can save you thousands of dollars by not having any sort of reason to care about this particular item, and I can just bash on it and destroy it and show you its flaws. I mean, YouTube was basically the end of High Point. High Point was huge. They sold thousands of guns all the time because they came in at the cheapest price. YouTube comes along and starts showing what pile of craps they actually are and the competitive options, and if you just spent a little bit more money, the better gun you would get. The audience extracted value out of me. I extract value out of the audience. It's a share program. Whether or not you're donating free guns, if that's how you want to give your value back to the audience, or that's how the audience is going to extract value out of you, it makes no difference whether they're just extracting value out of you, getting news stories, or reviews on different things. There's always a value trade. You're always getting value out of each other. No matter how you camouflage it, whether it's a gun giveaway or some sort of donation, or if it's just watching videos, getting useful information. I mean, think of how many times you've fixed things on your car, your guns, whatever, by simply watching a free YouTube video. And this is a weird business model. I'm putting videos out on the internet for free, and trying to make it a business. In order for the business model to exist, I gotta have the ability to extract value back out of the audience. And the audience has to have the ability to extract value out of me. If it's a one-way street, the channel will fail. If I'm only extracting value out of you, you guys will stop watching it. I will no longer be able to get value out of you. If you're only extracting value out of me, I will stop making videos because I simply can't afford to. I just can't. So, again, it doesn't matter how the audience is getting value out of you. Donation guns, donations, useful information, whatever. No matter what, there's a value exchange. It all depends on how you want to set up your business model. So then another player came into the battle here. That was Rhino, I think his channel's called. I forget. Anyway, I'm pretty sure Johnny B's just going to opt out of it. He said his piece. He's done. But Yankee Marshall's still on the attack of Mr. Guns and Gear, but he totally lost his initiative. The whole initiative was to be a clarification video for Chaz, but that's a dead issue now. But there still are a bunch of people thinking that communists forcefully taken over a piece of the country, or did, and now we need to up to DEFCON 5 from DEFCON 4. Or the whole crying wolf thing happened. If something serious does happen like this, the people that found out that it wasn't what it was supposed to be are not going to react in time. So anyway, the Rhino guy, he came in there and he just basically covered the apology video. And now we're to where we are right here. So what's going to happen? And that's where I have inserted myself. Are we ultimately going to hear from Mr. Guns and Gear, Johnny B? Or are they just going to let it go? Because when somebody attacks you, you got two choices. You can let it go, or you can make a rebuttal. I don't suspect they'll make a rebuttal video because they probably see it. Yes, Yankee Marshall's attacks were weak. They were very poor. I could have done a better job myself. But I think they look at that and like, okay, if he would have taken his time and did a better video, because even with Johnny B, they were both misquoting each other. Yankee Marshall was misquoting Johnny B, just looking for cheap attacks instead of going for the haymakers. So we'll see. Is he going to continue to press the attack and probably lose more than 7,000 subscribers? Or is this going to be a dead issue and we're going to move on from here? But that's the gist of the YM2K and what everything's happened. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to help support the channel, I got my Patreon. If you'd like to check out any other videos, I got links up here. I also got affiliate links in the description if you'd also like to help support the channel that way. Just by clicking on that link and doing the shopping you're going to do anyway on Amazon, I get a little kickback for it. I get a little value because you went there off my channel and Amazon feels I have sent you there. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe.